Welcome to Welcome to Stream. Welcome to Welcome to Stream of Conscious Podcast. I'm Joel Cowboy Cox. This is Joe Still Stout. Hey, that actually works really well.
Yeah, it did.
And a couple episodes ago, we were talking about video games, about going cowboy and going stealth.
Yes.
So
there's different elements to a video game. Either going stealth, being stealth, obviously being stealthy. Like if there's certain games you have to go around, you have to get all the guys, but you can't be seen by any of the other opposing team or characters. And then obviously like puzzles and such. Like if you just have to go through and you have to you have to line up, you have to find somewhere in the room. There's always like some hieroglyphics in a certain order, and you have to find those and then put them in to get the door to open up or whatever. Cowboy though is here's how the story of Cowboy came along. Is to the best of my memory, this is the way this went. 'Cause this is a long time ago, and it was just kind of like one of those odd things that happened that really almost went uncredited, except for it's a term that we use, and I can't imagine anybody else calls it going cowboy because. So, a very dear friend of mine, he had really just very recently had passed away. We were back in our youth. We were playing. Hitman, and there's a bunch of us all hanging out and we're playing Hitman, and there's this one level, and I couldn't tell you which Hitman game it was or what the level was. I don't remember. I want to say it's like one of the winter boards, or we got off a boat or something, and you have to go in and you have to kind of like you want to go through, and if you like sneak up behind, let's say there's like 8 guys on this somewhere in this level, you sneak up and you have to knock them out one at a time. Because if you get if one sees you, then they all know you're there. He sounds the alarm, and everybody comes running after you, and then they just kill you. So, my buddy Scott, he goes, and I think we were passing around the controller. So one person played it, and out of the 8 guys, they got like 2 or 3, and then they got caught. And then the next person plays it, and they get like 4 or 5, and then they get caught. And this went on for a while. We played this level for far too long. And so after so many tries of going through, and you get a guy, and then you get caught, and then they all come over and they kill you. My buddy Scott, I believe it was Scott, has a controller, and he goes up, and without even getting the first guy, the guy sees him, the alarm goes off, and they all start chasing after you, and so they're hunting you down, and so he goes, screw it, and he just goes through, and he starts and he starts shooting these guys up, and he, after we've been playing this level so many times, knocks all these guys out. He kills every single guy on the level, and when he's all said and done, my buddy John looks at him and goes, wow, you just went straight cowboy on those guys. And that was like, it was kind of out of the blue. It really didn't mean anything. It had no particular, if that's where cowboy came from. That's why I call it going cowboy. Mm-hmm. Anytime that you see anybody go nuts in a movie where they just go in and they just start beating the daylights out of everybody, or they just jump in, like Wolverine. Wolverine goes cowboy on everybody whenever he goes into a room. If he goes in, he starts killing everybody, he's going cowboy. So that's our term. That's my term for that one. But that's where that came from. Is fun little anecdote was because my good friend Scott, who is no longer with us, but he went nuts and accidentally sounded the alarm on Hitman, and Agent 47 just went cowboy on everybody. So
I remember Tara and I were playing Fallout together for a while. And like, she really got into it. She wasn't good at the shooting. She liked all the dialogue and the interactions. So anytime there's combat involved, she came and controlled to me. And my numerous years of first-person shooters and all that stuff, I have no problem taking people out. Especially when Fallout, they had a thing called VATS mode, which basically was like a bullet time kind of thing, where you could like line up your shot and like do all these cool moves. And if you do it just right, you get a cool slow-mo video. So one of my favorite things to do, there's this thing called Giants. And they're literally like 7-8 foot tall. I'd have her hide around a corner with a shotgun, wait from the around corner, and I'd vat them and blow their brains out. And you see their eyes fly off and stuff like that.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, so sometimes we'd be playing the game, go to town, have to do some trading, whatever. And I remember one time I was in the one town, and I'm like, and one of the vendors pissed me off because they wouldn't tell me something. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. So like, what are you doing? I saved the game, pulled out my biggest weapon, and just started mowing everybody down. Then he found out you can't kill children in Fallout, which made me even more mad.
That you object to that?
So then she's like, you just ruined the whole game. I'm like, watch this. I load the game, nothing ever happened.
I'm not sure that's going cowboy. I think he went psycho. I think he took cowboy to a new level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went Ron Perlman.
But yeah. What we're going to talk about today, you didn't ask me that, but I figured I'd
And cut me to the chase.
Adulting.
You were talking before about cartoons. We've been going on a lot about cartoons lately, but you said there was a point you wanted to make that I stammered over top of you.
No, I think we've made the point.
Oh, well, good. Then we don't talk about cartoons anymore.
Yeah. We're going to talk about adulting.
Adulting?
Yes.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
And I have a feeling that you have a different boat than I do, because you have 4 children and a wife.
Yeah.
I have a wife, but I have no children to worry about. And my wife
I feel like you have a different sense of adulting than I do. Like, adulting to you is not... there's a little different... There's less responsibility in your adulting than there is in mine.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, because... So, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, my apartment was a total mess because of the air conditioner.
Right.
I mean, the way I look at it this way, I work 8 hours a day at a job. I'm in traffic for an hour.
Basically, anybody who missed that episode, or I don't remember how well we covered it, your air conditioner went bad, but your air conditioner unit is in a closet that's in the back of your apartment, and it's pretty much all the way behind all of your storage.
Yeah.
So all of your storage stuff had
I'd
to come
say
out.
25% of my storage is my hot water heater and my furnace.
Yeah, so you had to yank everything out of
Uh-huh.
there, and so your place was a cluster bomb.
Now, I've had this apartment cleaned maybe, like, completely clean 2 or 3 times. But, like, I've gone through stuff, or had to find stuff, or I had to rip stuff apart to find something. And sometimes I'm not good at putting things back, which I need to get better at. But, long story short, got the air conditioner fixed, and I needed to put everything back. But I got this 3D printer, so I've been working on that. I only have so many hours in the day between work, seeing my wife, and doing stuff for my parents, or doing side jobs to make extra money to afford my habits. I only have so many hours. I might have an hour or two.
Your habits.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're a crackhead.
Well, for certain stuff, like drone parts and 3D printer parts, and like.
Yeah, but you're not going down to the corner and picking up a bag of heroin or anything like that.
No, but I do sell my body for an hourly rate to make money.
As an IT guy, before
Yes.
anybody gets before
As
we
an
start
IT
getting-
guy.
Although you know what, maybe you might get some friendly emails from our lady listeners.
I'm married and taken. Don't need that kind of stigma. Who's this
Way to cut
woman?
that off to the chase. There you go.
Who's this woman? Why she meant? I don't know. I think it's Joe's fault. Oh, you tell Joe to stop doing that.
Usually it is my fault.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of blaming things on me, is that when you do that, 9 times out of 10, your wife's going to go, yeah, probably Joe.
So anyway, my apartment looked like the bomb went off, and we talked about this. My apartment looks way better than it did before they fixed my air conditioner.
Yeah, they were actually in your apartment fixing your air conditioner over top of all the mess you had to pull out.
Yeah. So that was like a couple weeks ago, probably. Podcast telling me I don't know how long it's been since we posted this episode. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I get a phone call Friday at work from the landlord people. Now I had a fly problem for the previous week. This episode was reported, and I couldn't figure out why. Apparently, the neighbors had a fly problem too. They have 2 children, so I'm assuming someone hid a snack somewhere, and flies found it and set up home.
And flies, I think, are just one of those things that
Yeah.
just get in your house sometimes.
And they decided to make shop in my house as well. I bought a fly swatter. I'm gonna buy those hanging things that get rid of the stragglers. There's one guy in here for like 4 days. I just got him before you got here today. He came in this room, I closed the door, got the fly swatter, I'm like, you're not leaving this room till you're dead. Open the door, close the door, he's sitting on the table, wham! Dead.
Like a horror movie, but with flies. Like, he went in here and you snuck in behind him, closed the door behind you.
So,
Time to say your prayers, fly.
So this phone call, they're telling me about this fly problem, and then the woman tells me that my apartment is a disaster, and doesn't know how I live here, and that I should clean my apartment, and she's gonna check on me next week to make sure I get my apartment cleaned, because it's a fire hazard, and if the ambulance were to come, first off,
You're definitely not adulting right now. You have another adult checking in to make sure you clean your room.
Here's my thing: if I'm in the ambulance or the police, I'm already dead, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going out where like there's like a hostage situation or whatnot. No, there'll be nothing left. I'm done. Ambulance, there's no point in coming. He's already dead.
My mom used to tell me when I wouldn't clean my room, if there was a fire, you'd trip and kill yourself. And your landlord called you up and said, if there was a fire, you'd trip and kill yourself. You're a 15-year-old boy again.
Which isn't true, because I haven't passed the doors. But I've actually cleaned 90% of the mess because I actually had time to do it.
Right.
And I kind of want to say, look, lady, I only got 2 hours a night during the week.
And you pay rent. Like none of your business with how I keep my place.
Exactly.
It's not like you, and you're not filthy. Your house is not dirty. Like, you have a lot of stuff that maybe isn't put away necessarily.
Exactly.
But it's not like you have food on the floor.
Yeah, there's no food out. There's no vermin in here. My apartment is clean food-wise.
Right.
I just got a lot of crap.
It's cleanly. It's just clustered.
Yeah.
But it's an organized cluster. You know where everything is, or for the bulk of everything is. So it's not like you don't live in filth. You're not living in squalor here.
Thank you. That's what I wanted someone else to say that without me coaxing or saying.
No. You're not and I'll say this, like, for me at my home, like, I'm not quick to pick up a rag and wipe down a counter. I'm not good at the actual cleanliness of things. Mm-hmm. My wife does all that. She's very clean, but she's super disorganized.
Here's the thing: you can tell when I'm busy and when I'm not busy. When I'm busy, most of my stuff is a mess. When I'm not busy, the place is spotless.
See, I'm quick I sit down too quick. Like, the house might need cleaned up, but I'll sit down and start to watch Netflix, and that's it. My day's over. Once I do anything other than clean, if I don't wake up and start cleaning, or if I don't come home from work and start cleaning, it just doesn't get done. Mm-hmm. If I even kind of sit down for a second, my day is over.
Well, like I said, my 2 hours that I usually feel like I have, it's like, okay, I got a job to do. I can work on this project for this client and make some money, or I can clean my apartment. And no one's really going to see this mess that much. So
right, this is your mess.
Yeah.
Like, you get to live in this mess, not...
Exactly.
It's not affecting anybody else.
But when I talk about adulting, there's also, like, paying bills. There's, like... What else is there?
There's a maturity... And here's the thing, especially with, like, kids. We were talking about this before, about how I was saying how, like, I don't let my kids watch movies or play video games that are overly graphic. Too much bad language, or too much violence, or too much this. And you said, maybe jokingly, or maybe probably more honestly, is that they hear me talk, and I do, and I'm very I tone it down for this show. I watch my language. I have a very good switch in my brain to turn it off.
You actually do.
Not curse.
You do.
Like, on this show, I've maybe let 1 or 2 curse words ever slip by, but I really don't curse a lot. As soon as you stop saying record, I turn into the uncensored version of Yosemite Sam.
It's like I used to say about when I worked at the school district. From 7:30 to 3:30, I'm Danny Tanner. From 3:30 to 7:30, I'm Bob Saget.
Yes. I'm good with that. Like, I watch that, but I do. Occasionally, I say stuff that's probably inappropriate in front of my kids, but I'm aware that I'm saying it. Yeah. I never let anything too excessive.
And then you also explain to them that they can't say that.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, we're watching a movie or something. Sometimes I'll over dramatically point it out. We watched Assassin's Creed a while back, and during it's rated PG-13, so I'm like, this is fine. You guys are okay to watch it.
I was gonna say, I don't remember there being any sex in that movie.
No. There's like they drop the F-bomb one time in the movie, and it's not like it's not very in your face. I thought you get 2 in a PG-13.
I think it's 1.
Oh, okay. But so he drops the F-bomb, and I, like, very openly went, oh my gosh, and I, like, made this whole ordeal out of it. And then I turned to the kids and I go, you guys know not to say that, right? And they go, yeah, no, we're good, no, we won't say it. And they're good. They know that it's not that I don't want them to be it's not that I don't want them to be exposed to those words necessarily, although I don't really. I just don't want it to be so commonplace that they think it's okay to do that. It's one thing to know a word. You don't know not to say a word if you've never heard the word.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to hear it. It's one thing to be exposed to it. And they're going to live in a world that's... I'm not going to follow them around for the rest of their lives and shelter them. So as they turn into adults and have to start adulting on their own, This is kind of a transition for them to learn.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Here it is. This happens in the world. There are drugs. There is alcohol. There's sex. There's violence. There's rock and roll. Avoid some of those things to the best of your ability. Not rock and roll.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Well, like one of my favorite memes on Facebook is how to be an adult. Pay your bills. Don't smoke meth. Keep only a few close friends. Wear deodorant. And for the most part, I get 3 out of 4 of those.
And we're not telling you which one he doesn't.
But my point is, like...
But let me tell you, he smells fantastic.
But I'll point out, like, there have been days where I get paid. I'm like, dude, I can buy a new this. Oh, I gotta pay my car bill. What's due today? Gotta pay this, and this. Then I pay everybody, like, where'd my paycheck go? Oh, looks like I'm in wrong news the rest of the week. But, like...
I've got a good system with the paycheck, like, where all of our bills just automatically deduct, because I cannot be held responsible enough to... I don't take responsibility well. And that's one of those things, like I was saying, how I got together not too long ago with a handful of my friends that I grew up with, and without getting into too much and spreading too much of their personal lives around, we've all grown, we've all evolved, but some of us have not really made...
Some of us have devolved.
Well, yeah, I mean, depending on how you look at it, some of us have not evolved to be progressive.
This person's devolved.
Right, and it was one of those things where... You know, we're adults. We're grown. We're not just like, we're not fresh new adulthood. We're not like 20-year-old adults.
We're like veterans.
Right, yeah. He's 35, I'm 37. So we're...
For those who care, I'm 39.
Oh, Joel's 30, yeah. But you act like a 39-year-old. You live like a 30...
I'm sorry.
No. That's my fault. That's on me.
That's a good one. Tell another one. Tell another one.
In some ways, you take on the responsibilities that a 39-year-old most likely does. Whereas there's a certain point where you kind of have to mature, and you have to take on certain levels of responsibility. And you're only responsible, like, you don't have kids, so you don't have that level of responsibility. Yeah. I do have kids, so I do have to take on that responsibility.
I have to keep myself alive.
But you know me. You grew up knowing, like, the way that I am, how like I don't want pets because that's a responsibility level, and I don't want to. I minimize. Kids. I spend all day, every day, thinking, how can I take on less responsibility? If my boss goes, "Hey, do you want to?" 99% of the time, I go, "That's cool. I really don't want any more responsibility. That's not my thing, and I'm not good with it." So hanging out with my friends, a bit ago, and kind of like. Not necessarily that I was responsible for them. They're grown-ups. They have to take care of themselves. There's only so much as an adult that you can tell another adult to do or correct them. And I kind of found myself falling back in that role of when we were kids, where I was always the voice of reason. I was always the one that was kind of going, I know, right? That's weird, right?
What?
Because I was like the one, like, hey, let's not do that because it's going to cause problems.
Hey,
it's going to
guys,
be trouble.
Maybe we shouldn't smoke that crack pipe.
Yes, exactly. That, not quite exactly, but along that same line. Don't smoke, that was probably something that I said. But like, and that's actually pretty close to home right now, as to hanging out with these guys as adults. Not all of them, just, like a few of the kind of like the direction.
You know who you are. We know you don't listen.
Yeah, well, yeah. But putting me in a level, in the position of being the mature, responsible one.
What's that?
That pisses me off, because I do not want that. That is unjustified.
What's that quote? "In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king."
Yes, that's I've never heard that before, but that is me. Really? I'm the one-eyed man.
Oh, what was that movie? I think it was called Dirty Work. It had Norm Macdonald in it.
That's probably why I didn't know that quote, because I hate Norm Macdonald. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That's
he did. That's not the original quote, but that was said by Tommy Boy. Who's Tommy Boy?
Chris Farley.
Chris Farley. Chris Farley's character said that the one day in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't see. I know the movie you're talking about. I never watched it, but that's kind of how I felt. Like, I felt like I was the smartest kid with Down syndrome. Like, I was the one who was... Like, I'm not responsible. I'm not mature. I'm not the one that you look to for guidance or direction. I'm not the guy who you turn to when you're like, how do we do anything in a mature, responsible adult manner, I'm not that guy. But in that scenario, I kind of like I get kind of thrust that upon me. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Well, like I've always been. I don't know if I mentioned this podcast before, but I remember one of the first college parties I went to. I saw these guys playing a game called Anchorman. In the game Anchorman.
Now keep in mind that we were in college before there was a movie called Anchorman. So
this was 1990, fall of 1997. I saw this game played. So you've got two teams of 5. You got this giant container of alcohol, like a gallon or 2 gallons. I forget what it is.
Okay.
And each team gets a jug. You got 5 people on the team. Each member drinks as much as they can, and when they can't drink anymore,
they pass it to
the next guy. The last guy at the end of the thing is the Anchorman. He's got to finish that bottle to win the game.
So whatever. He can't pass it back up the line.
No, he's the last line of defense. And I learned in life, when it comes to doing stuff, I feel like I'm the Anchorman. Like, if we go out, when I went with my friends, and like, we had one friend that I learned very quickly, you get separate checks when you go out with certain people. Because you don't know if they're going to pay or not.
Yeah.
So, we'd go out to dinner, and like, say the bill was $50. I owed $15. Totals come in. We should have at least $50 to pay the bill.
And it's still at the end, you're still short.
And when it comes to the end and there's $45, and I know I put my 20% in, maybe more depending how they served, I feel obligated that I need to make sure that woman gets paid or that man gets paid.
Right. And
whatever.
And actually, I was just talking about this too because a long time ago there was a big group of us that went out. And we went to Denny's, and we had this server that we always went in. He always took great care of us. We used to go in late at night all the time, and he was awesome. He was just one of those dudes that he knew us, he knew what we got. He was always friendly, so we liked him, and we always tipped him well. Well, one night, a bunch of us go in, like a bigger group than we normally went, because usually just the 6 of me and my close-knit group of friends I grew up with. So this one, we go in, I think there's like 10 or 12 of us. So the check comes around, we got one big check. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I'm a big tipper. I was waiting tables. I had a good bit of cash in my pocket. I didn't have as much bills and responsibility as I do now. So I had some extra cash and some expendable cash. And he really just kind of like stepped up his game and took really great care of us at night. So the check comes out, puts it down. So I pick it up, and I'm like, okay, so I owe X amount of dollars, and I threw him a $10 tip just because I wasn't sure how everybody else was going to tip. So I want to make sure that he's taken care of. So I throw him in a $10 tip with my money. It goes down the line. Everybody collects. Oh, and then the guy sitting next to me, he threw him a $5 tip. He's like, so between the two of us, he's already got $15.
Mm-hmm.
So the bill gets to the end of the table, and they're looking at it, and they go, okay, he's all set, and we got an $8 tip for him. No, there's no human way, and I lost my mind on it. And I kind of like dug into a couple. I was like, there's no way. Give me my money back. I'm not getting my bill split off. And I made a big issue about it. And I'm like, I tipped him 10, he tipped him 5, and somehow he's only getting an $8 tip. And I just like went off on everybody at the table, and way more than I should have. Kind of like one of those nights where I was just like, you know what, you guys are a big piece of filth, and the fact that you're going to take money out of somebody's tip to help pay for your bill is ridiculous.
So,
and blah, blah, blah,
answer
blah.
this question, because this came up a couple weeks ago, actually before the last podcast recording. So, when restaurants require you to have a minimum tip of 18% for parties of 6 or more, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. Because here's the thing. If you have a group that's that big, your expectations need to change. If you and I go out to eat, we should, as the two of us, we should expect to sit down and be greeted within a certain amount of time. We should expect to have drinks on our table at a certain amount of time. We should expect to have our appetizers there, then our food there, and then we should expect to have our check in a timely manner. Once we give them our money, we should expect it to be processed and then given back to us in a certain amount of time. When you go into a restaurant with a larger group, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, whatever, when you sit down, that many people, you got to understand that it's not as simple a lot of times as them walking up to your table, because you might be in half someone's section, half somebody else's section.
I guess I should rephrase this. So when you know it's added for a bigger party, compared to when you find out when you see the bill. Like, if
Do I think that it should be told to you? Is that what you're asking?
Should it be told? Is the sign good enough, or should they actually tell you?
No, in having waited tables for as long as I did, there's no excuse for a server not to tell someone that they add that gratuity on. I understand that at some point in time it should definitely be mentioned to the group. Now, if you make a reservation, a lot of times the hostess or the manager that takes the reservation will say, "Oh, okay, you're coming in with 10 people. We add."
That's what I'm getting at. I don't mind the tipping. What I don't like is when a set amount is put in, and then they put a tip thing on top, and there's like you have to.
That can get a little sneaky. And here's the thing: is if you're paying with a credit card, if say your bill is $10, so there's $1.80 added on. And here's the other thing you don't get is when that gratuity is added on your check, at like when it's just automatically added on, it's added on before taxes, not after taxes. Most people tip 18 to 20% after the tax is added on.
Oh, so I do it before. What I do is I calculate. Wait, hold on. What do I do? No, I calculate the tip separate from the tax.
Okay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Actually, I take that back. It depends. If I'm being lazy, I'll multiply my bill by 15% plus whatever.
Yeah, I just look at the grand total and then I get from there.
I do that too sometimes.
And I don't go to any exact degree. Like it's always I'm a generous tipper too because I worked in that environment. So
I do roughly 20%, and I usually go higher.
You're fine then.
Basically, I move it over decimal point, and the bill I move it like one to the left.
But if they're putting, and here's the thing is.
But the thing that bothers me is when I'm sitting there, I'm doing the thing, and I look at it, and then I realize, oh wait, they added because not all
gratuity on there.
Sometimes you have a big party, they don't do that. So like, I don't want to screw the guy, but I also don't want to like double the tip. Because if that makes sense, like I don't mind tipping, but I don't.
There's a point where you kind of have to go too much is too much. If you're already taking an 18%, if the server is already getting their 18% on that check, then first of all, it depends on the restaurant. Like where I worked when I first started there, we had that as an option. I never ever put that on. And I worked there for a long time. Partway through, it became a standard. They didn't say you can put it on. They said you have to put it on. Now, I had been there long enough that I had ways of getting around that. I knew how to take that off the check. Yeah. But if you came into work the same place as I did, you didn't know how to avoid that. So you would have a table, you would give them their check, and it would already be on there. I feel that you are then obligated to say, guys, here's your check. I've already added 18% gratuity. That's what I'm saying. If you'd like, you are welcome to tip on top of that.
That's what I'm saying. Because I feel like sometimes I go to restaurants, I'll look at the thing, and like, we went to, what was it? Oh, our friend Nancy was in town, and we went to a drag queen brunch. It was very...
That is probably the best part of the story, and you just skated right over
No, I'm not skating over this. I'm going to explain this. It was kind of awkward, because... The way it worked, I never been to one of these. Nancy's parents from Florida. Apparently, Florida senior citizens love drag queen brunches and stuff like that.
Now, you're saying drag queen, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm hearing you correct.
Yes.
I want to make sure that you're not like this isn't some.
So they have drag queens.
Okay.
And they walk around and they sing. Well, actually, they lip sync. They lip sync to songs, and they dance around. And as they dance around the tables and stuff, people give them ones. And I felt like I was in a very weird strip club. Because I know these are men dressed as women dancing around. There's people waving dollar bills in the air to get their attention. They come over and dance for them. I don't like strip clubs. I don't like the ones with the women dancing. Knowing this a man dressed as a woman, I have no problem with that. But waving $1 at them to come over and shake their thing, it's like, I don't know, it just makes me feel really awkward.
Oh, I can see you in this situation and how awkward and uncomfortable you must have been, and it makes my heart happy to know that you were there. Like, I'm sorry I missed it.
But like I said, I have no problem with drag queens and dress vests. Whatever the gambit is, I have no problem with it.
Right, no, you do your thing.
It's a thing of, I'm now waving $1 at you.
No, right, and here's the thing, is if you're a vegetarian, you don't want to pay to go to a steak buffet. You're not going to, right? Like,
I know where we're going with this.
I'm saying that you don't want to have to. You don't want to feel obligated to pull out $1.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't. You're not obligated, but just weird seeing these people like waving this $1, like, hey. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, that's in to a degree. It's probably just people.
They're having a good time.
There's a novelty. to it.
It's a novelty. It's just I look at things very differently, and sometimes very abstractly. Sometimes. So, with the way I was looking at this, in comparison to the stuff I've been to before, I'm like...
No, that's a unique situation.
Yeah.
That's odd. That's different. That's not...
But anyway, I was kind of annoyed at the brunch because we paid $14 to get in. And I'm thinking, it's a brunch. So it's probably like a buffet. All you can eat, and there'll be some drag queens. Okay, whatever. No, $14 just to get in. They need to order food.
You had to pay. There was a cover charge to a brunch.
Yes. So we went to this thing, and the food was okay. But, like, I think I paid, like, $25 for, like, chicken and waffles and, I think, a side of hash browns. And then...
You're already in pretty deep there.
Yeah, so then the thing came over, and there was gratuity added. And in my mind, I said, okay, there's gratuity added. So
you're done.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, it was 20%. I'm like, okay, fine, that wasn't tip anyway. So then there's a problem with the credit cards, and it took like 5-10 minutes to get us through. They had to go someplace else from the cards. I forgot that the gratuity was already added. I tipped again another 20%.
Oh, okay.
So that's
and that's ridiculous because not only do you pay a cover charge that that's going to probably the owner or something, then you're tipping a gratuity.
No, I don't know. No, it could have been. It also could have been. If it might have been like the money for them was like the drag queen bingo that Tara and Kristen go to. The proceeds from the cover goes to helping transgender, lesbian, bi, whatever, like the youth that are like, kicked out of their homes because their parents don't want them around. Because
and that's cool. Wherever the money's
and
going,
if it's a charity thing, I understand.
But your tip wasn't. Your tip was probably going to that server.
Yeah, I'm just saying for the $14, that could have been for a charity part. I don't remember.
Right.
But I can't remember. Like, but long story short,
once you pay
I tipped 40%, and I'm like, that's a little overkill.
Yeah, that's excessive. You shouldn't have to do. And you obviously don't want to do that.
Like, it's funny because, like, and then sometimes when I go out, like, I went out with my friends from work. We went to see the last Pirates movie, and we went over to TGI. We went to Uno. And the waitress wasn't that good. And she's kind of snarky, but not the cool kind of snarky. Like...
That's an awkward... See, because, like I said, like, I always tip well, but whenever I get poor service... I still feel obligated to tip that 15%.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So, the girls all wanted to get salads. Apparently their cooler is broken. She didn't tell us this whenever she came by and gave menus and gave our drink orders. So the girls were like, oh, we want salad. I was getting ice cream and cake. I didn't care. I was being irresponsible. So they had to get something else. So then, when I ordered my dessert... She brought one by or something. No, she asked me if I wanted some option from. Like, no, thank you. She brought one by, and it wasn't mine. I gave it to somebody else. Okay, whatever. So she brought my dessert. That's what it was. It was ice cream, apple, some kind of apple pie kind of thing, and she didn't give me a spoon. Fun tip: I don't like using spoons that much. Like, I eat my baked beans with a fork. I eat a lot of stuff with forks that you don't normally eat with a fork.
Okay, I did not
know
about you.
Yeah, like with ice cream and stuff, I'd rather have a fork for the ice cream and pie or whatever.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, spoons are just meh.
Alright.
So...
No, that's weird. We're not going to glaze over that like it's not like a normal thing.
No, I'm not.
That's like you putting mustard on your french fries. It's weird, but it's your thing and you're allowed to have that.
So, I got asked 5 times if I wanted a spoon, if I was sure. My dessert was halfway gone when she asked me, like, the 5th time. Then some other dude walks by and goes, you need a spoon? No, I don't need a spoon. Leave me alone.
So better to be asked too much than not enough. Yeah. For something like that. But
so then, what was it?
But all in all, you got poor service.
Yeah, I got poor service.
I don't think you're obligated to tip.
She was kind of snarky. And my bill was really small. I think it was like $5 or something like that.
Okay.
And, like, so it's like $1 tip. But, like...
I think there should be a minimum balance tip. Like, you should you should have, like, a set number, and I don't want to tell anybody what that
but what I'm getting at is, I had like a 20 or something. I had a big bill. I needed her to give me a smaller bill so I can give her her tip. Because I was going to tip her, like, $3 or $4. But, like, she was so, like... I don't know if she thought she was being cool, but she wasn't. And, like, instead of being, like, a $4 tip... It ended up being like a $3, like maybe like a $2 or $3 tip. I forget what it was.
So she cheated herself out of a couple of bucks. In the grand scheme of things, like maybe she was too busy to really care. I don't know. Maybe she was new.
I don't know what I don't know what the deal was. But the point was, my bill was so small that like it felt like overkill to give her what I was gonna give her, but like, I forget what happened. But like, I had a $2 bill for my dad because he loves $2 bills.
Yeah.
And I basically burn those as soon as I can. So instead, I think that what it was I didn't want to give her 5 because she pissed me off. So I think I had like a couple 2s and 1s or something, and it ended up being like $3 or something. Somehow she got like a weird numbered tip that was still overkill for how she performed.
Well, in general, and I think regardless of how much your bill is, if you get say you get you go with a whole family and you end up spending $60 and you have terrible service, you still want to leave a tip.
Yeah.
I think the least you should ever leave is 10%.
Oh, so that's it.
No, for me, I always tip at least 15%.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm saying for like the average person out there,
Yeah.
the person who feels like
My rule of thumb is 20, unless you're horrible.
right, and it
if
used to be
you're
15 was average, but now it's 18
But here's the other
20
thing.
is average.
If you're having a bad day, or if I can tell that it's not your fault,
Right.
that doesn't count against you. If you're just a dick,
Then you
Yeah.
get less. And there are
especially-
people out there that, and if you tip the poor servers well all the time, then they're going to stick around.
yeah,
They're not going to realize that they're either not going to pick up their game. And I worked in a restaurant, so this is something I feel that I'm well, diverse in and somewhat of an expert on. Is if you tip them well, they're never going to either work harder or they're going to continue to stay at a job. Like maybe they can be better, or maybe that's just not the right job for them. But they're never going to make that decision. They're never going to make that point where they have to make that leap, where they have to decide, am I right for this job or should I be doing something else, if they continually make money at the job.
Mm-hmm.
If they get treated the same as everybody else, as the good server, and here's the thing, is you cannot be one of those people that say, I get bad service, I'm going to tip poorly, unless you are the same person who says, if I get good service, I'm going to tip above and beyond.
There's like my buddy Scott. He's a bigger guy, and he is very particular about what he wants in his food. But the dude, I don't know what he tips. I know it's got to be at least 30% most of the time, if not more.
Because he's particular.
Yeah, but he'll interact with the server. Like he likes. We get certain
He's a people person,
yeah.
right?
When we go to certain
I've met
places,
Scott before. I know Scott, actually.
When we go to certain places, we look for certain servers because they know how we are. They know that we tip well. We know they're going to give us good service.
Right.
There's a girl who worked at TGI Fridays. We used to go to TGI Fridays all the time before the movies because she worked there. But then TGI Fridays themselves, the service has been going downhill. We'll talk about food on another podcast.
Okay.
But long story short, we don't do TGI Fridays anymore because they rip you off now when you go to get food there. And she doesn't work there. She's moving down to like North Carolina or someplace to be with her family. But like she was amazing, and she made sure she took care of us.
Now, did you stop going there because... Have you ever stopped going to the restaurant because a server that you liked stopped working at the restaurant? Have you ever had that situation?
We don't go as much, but we don't stop going.
Okay.
Like
Because we go... what's the Mexican place?
Patron.
Monday. Patrons. We go to Patrons. And you guys go more than I do.
Yeah.
But Patrons, and it was always Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie was our server every time. But
Mhm.
Eddie's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And you guys still go back
Yeah,
to
we've
Patrons.
we
It's
have
not
other-
the same.
No,
Like,
it's
it
not the
doesn't
same.
feel right without Eddie.
Like there's guys, there's 2 or 3 guys there that know us and they take care of us. But then we got a new girl the last time we went. Like I was ready to shoot myself. Like I wanted out of there.
And if it's somebody new, you kind of have to give them a grace
Yeah.
period. You got to break them in. They have to learn
Yeah.
you because.
But, like, it's
here's
one of
the
those-
thing, I know, not so much you, but I know a lot of the friends that we have and you have, and the people you hang out with. And to a degree, they're not awkward people, or not. Well, maybe they are a little bit awkward, but they're not inconvenient. They're not rude. They're not
Yeah.
disrespectful people. They just are difficult to work around, and they have different
Yeah,
quirks.
I understand.
And a server
But-
needs to kind of get acclimated to that.
I also feel like sometimes if you have a new server, you don't throw them to like your regular table.
No, yeah, you guys
Or-
are the wolves, so they did. They tossed them to the wolves.
Yeah, like you don't. If you're new, you don't give them a table of 8 people or a really busy night. You don't give them multiple tables. Like you give them some training wheels.
Right, and there's supposed to be steps in place to avoid
Yeah.
that, but it's like everything else. It's not always possible or plausible to keep those people out of the fire. And at a certain point, every server eventually has to take a 20 to 30 top table. At some point in time, you are going to be in over your head. And really,
Yeah.
almost every day as a server,
Yeah.
you don't realize how much fire that they're walking through. Being a server is like... It's like walking up to a lake that is on fire, and the forest is on fire behind you, and the beach is on fire, and you are on fire for 8 hours straight.
You ever see this Lemon Salmon?
No.
So it's a Broken Lizard movie.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah. No, I did see this.
Did you
I don't
like
like it. No. Thought it was pretty terrible, actually.
Okay, how'd you feel about Waiting?
Waiting, I loved. Because my
It
boy
was-
Ryan Reynolds is in it.
But did it feel close to home?
Yes. Well, no, there was some
I'm
truth
not, talking
to
about, I'm
that
not talking
one.
about the food part, like the food.
Right.
Like, mess with the food.
I've never seen anybody mess with anybody's food. I've never seen anything like that. But as far as like the personality types,
Yeah.
like there's the whole the one scene that really is like uncanny true in that movie is the one where she's in the kitchen and she's MFing at this table and I hate him, blah 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 blah, and she's just going off and she's cursing everybody and everything up and down. And the second she hits the floor, she turns the bend and she walks up to her table and she's like, "Hi guys, how's everything for you?" or whatever she says to her. I don't know what the line is, but it's like that. You wouldn't believe how much that happens, or like how many times you have servers that are just smiling and so friendly, and then they turn the bend and they're like, "I hate these people so bad," and they're needy and they want it. And there's so many of those different things that as a server you see on a consistent basis. Everyone has that table that feels, or every server has had that table where you go up to them and they feel like they have to ask you to do something just because you're there, and that you hate that. Or you have the table that you go, "What would you like?" and they go, "Oh, I need a refill," and you go get that refill and you come back and somebody else goes, "Oh, I need a refill," and you go get that refill and then you come back and then somebody else goes, "I need mayonnaise for my sandwich," and you go get and it's like non-stop, like every time you come back. And rather than, "I'm here, what do you need?" You need a refill and you need a refill, you need mayonnaise, you need ketchup, you want some more napkins, and you need a fork for your ice cream because you're a wacko. Give it to me all at once. I will go get all of those things. I will bring them all back at one time. Instead, it's one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. And some people don't realize that the server might have 6 other tables or what have you. So that movie. Actually, there was a lot of truth as far as like the personality types that work in a restaurant, because you really do we actually, where I worked, we had the lesbian bartender, we had the constantly grumpy chick, we had like all those characters. We had one of those. So I love that movie because of that. I thought that was like, it to me made sense and it hit home, and it was like, that's pretty damn accurate. Now the sequel, Waiting 2, no good.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah, don't bother with it. It's terrible.
And on that note, folks, tip your servers on the way out. Tip your bartenders. Tip us if you want.
Tipping is not just the city in China.
Nope.
All right, be sure to join us here next time on Stream of Consciousness Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on Facebook, Yoo-Hoo, Wonder Woman, Fantasy League. Joel, tell them the stuff they have to do.
Facebook, YouTube, text me, Facebook message me. That's the only way to get our comments anyway, so.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.